Hi and welcome. I'm Damon Bruce and you're watching 2K Sports. Today's broadcast in tribute to Martin Luther King. It's Tony Parker and the San Antonio Spurs going up against Joe Johnson and the Atlanta Hawks. The NBA on 2K Sports.
Welcome to the NBA here on 2K Sports, a special Martin Luther King Day edition. I'm Kevin Harlan, alongside Clark Kellogg and Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke reporting from the sidelines. A contest between conferences, Phillips Arena, Atlanta, where the Hawks take to their home floor. So the opening lineup for the Spurs, presented by State Farm. Parker and Manu are the backcourt. McDyess and Duncan, they're inside. And it's Leonard in at the small forward. And for the Hawks, Heinrich and Johnson in the backcourt. Jason Collins is out there with Horford. And it's Smith in at the small forward position. To the paint. Goes right up. Blocked. And it's the Spurs ball. Ginobili outside. And it's Horford picking him up. Open look. And the jumper is on the mark.
Pretty pass there, right where he needed to put it.
And it's the Hawks with the ball.
Well, there were times last year when the defensive effort just didn't seem to be there for the Hawks. I mean, they were third worst in block shots per game and second to last in steals per game.
Well, the defense has to commit so much attention to him. He's just an important part of this offense.
And Doris Burke caught up with Coach Greg Popovich. Doris?
Well, he didn't budge the fact that this is a defense that can strike fear into the hearts of opponents. While he knows it won't be an easy task to overcome, he feels his team is prepared to do what they need to do to succeed. He said, "We know what we're up against. I don't think they know what we bring to the table." Sounds confident enough, guys.
All right, Doris, thank you. Taking on a defense like that one they're facing today, Clark has certainly got their attention.
Yeah, you know what, Kevin? I think they're going about it the right way. I mean, they need to dictate what they do offensively instead of taking what's available. Take what you want.
Steve?
Well, that's the only way to go. I mean, this is a game about aggressiveness. And if they're not aggressive, that defense is just going to swallow them up.
Here's Johnson, following the basket by Tim Duncan.
Well, that time we got a pretty clear... to the hoop.
There was Clark, and he took full advantage of it.
And not just with any old finish. I mean, that was a big-time dunk.
Heinrich with the steal. And slam dunk by Johnson.
A little bit of a struggle defensively. They got to defend the hoop.
I'm not sure they could have gotten... there anyway.
That was a great angle we just saw on the Sprite Slam Cam. Now Ginobili. The pass to Parker. Tipped out of bounds. They'll keep possession. Pachulia, he's checked in for the Hawks. Splitter's checked in for San Antonio. Jefferson comes in for Leonard. Here's Duncan. He feeds it to Splitter. Whoops, they pick off the pass.
Good defense there. He was just waiting for that one.
Guys, this offense very effective.
Going right at him.
And this is where you just start picking apart the defense, and now you take their confidence away. You can really take control of this game. And I think one of the things that Josh Smith has really improved on is his shot selection. He used to really fire away from the three-point line, and as a result, his shooting percentages were very low. But now he's become a 50% range type shooter because he's become much smarter with his offensive choices.
And here is Johnson. Manu Ginobili getting his three to go. Thinking back to that shot selection comment of Steve, Do you think he's become more committed to getting chances close in?
Oh, I think he's made great improvement in that area, Kevin. I really do. And I think there's still plenty of room for him to grow, but he's made tremendous strides there. And I think it's part of him just kind of figuring out how he can be most effective on the floor. And that just, again, comes with becoming a veteran. You can't have maturity without time and experience. You need both.
Gets the ball.
Well, no defense there. I mean, he just takes the ball right to the rim.
Parker with the steal. He's picked up by Heinrich. Ginobili. That's good.
He has so much confidence, guys. What a finish.
The Hawks trailing.
One thing that Popovich doesn't get enough credit for is how he handles the minutes of his players. He really massages those well. He never overuses his guys over the course of the season.
Now here is Smith. Heinrich kicks to Smith. 6 to shoot.
Great hands down low. Gets the takeaway.
And there's Ginobili. That's good on the assist by Jefferson. 10 points for Ginobili. Clark, that's a great point going back to Pop and the way he uses minutes with his team, his players. You know, Steve, the Spurs usually have fresh legs come playoff time.
Well, yeah, but last season didn't help the argument. You know, normally Pop's teams have kind of eased their way through the regular season, saved it for the playoffs. But last year, they exploded to that big win total. And then they lost in the first round. They did look tired. So, I don't know, maybe a different approach for the Spurs this year.
Marvin Williams is checked in for the Hawks. Teague comes in for Kirk Heinrich. The Spurs also changing it up. Blair comes in for Tim Duncan. And Gary Neal subbed in for Manu Ginobili. Can they get it? That's good from Johnson on the assist by Horford. And that's 11 points for Johnson.
He may single-handedly bring his team back, guys. What a fantastic quarter he's had. You know, it's interesting with the Spurs, how good they've been. They just don't get a lot of attention. You know, their games don't always draw in big TV ratings, but year after year, they seem to just fly under the radar.
Teague, the pass to Johnson. Ball's knocked loose, out of bounds, and they'll keep possession. Here's Teague. Splitter is whistled for reaching in. That is his first foul of the game. So, Clark, when you look at the Spurs, why is it, do you think, that they haven't captured the imagination of some fans?
Well, I mean, most casual fans and even some of the more ardent, rabid fans are more intrigued and excited by much more flack. And
I'm talking nationally, not locally, but nationally.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. So that's what I'm saying, that those folks tend to get hung up and enamored with the highlights and the real high-profile type stars. And quite honestly, it just doesn't sell as much across the country. But for those of us who enjoy basketball, know basketball, appreciate all the work that goes into it, they are a model franchise and one of the outstanding sports franchises in all the sports, in my opinion.
Well said. Just 5 on the clock. Shot left block, and it's San Antonio with another. Guys, no one team gaining control early on.
Give and take, back and forth, the whole way thus far.
Yeah, 6 lead changes already, and as Rasheed Wallace once said, both teams playing hard, my man. It has been all offense here early.
It sure has been. I mean, both teams clicking, and it's been an entertaining game as well, guys.
There's the triple, and again, it's the Spurs from deep.
For 3.
And a high-scoring first quarter. Both teams really filling it up. Spurs lead by 2.
Yeah, this team is on the same page, no question. They're right where they need to be offensively.
And they're hitting their scores with on-time and on-target passes, too. That's fun to watch.
More great action when we return. And welcome back to our special presentation of the NBA for Martin Luther King Day. So with Johnson sitting on the bench, here's the group that Larry Drew has on the floor. Josh Powell is out there with Smith. Then it's Marvin Williams. Then there's Heinrich. And it's Thomas in at the 5. Home in the paint. And it's the Hawks with the ball. Trailing by 2. Let's check out what Doris Burke has for us.
Guys, playing the point guard position, always a balance between scoring and setting up others. Tony Parker said that's always the tough part since I've been here. When to shoot, when to pass. Every year I try to get better at it. His coach, Greg Popovich, said, he came as a scoring guard and we've tried to move him the other direction a bit. Not too much because we don't want to lose his scoring. And guys, Tony Parker, one of the most dangerous scoring point guards in the NBA.
Not the biggest guy, but boy, he is quick, Doris. I think that's one of his advantages. His shot's good from Smith.
He hasn't always been pretty from deep. But you know, last year Smith really wasn't hurting anybody when he hoisted up from deep. He's better when he goes to the basket.
Here's Green. And again, it's San Antonio with a 3.
That's his second shot from long range in this quarter, so he's starting to roll.
You mentioned Smith's 3-ball numbers. Steve, about 33% from beyond the arc last year.
Well, that was a career high. So you can live with that percentage when he's only taking a couple per game. Early in his career, I thought he took way too many, but he's gotten much better with his shot selection over the last few years.
A tight game here in Atlanta. Now here's Heinrich. Leonard picks him up. Smith outside. Jumps up. Thomas, good. And that makes it a tie ball game.
That was a nice finish to an excellent possession. Well, guys, it was the best start in franchise history for the Spurs last season. They got to 40 wins before the end of January. That was a team first. And finished with the second best record in the league, 61 wins.
Well, it's been back and forth. Really good battle here.
Yeah, real strong battle, guys. And it looks like it may come down to which team has the ball last as far as who wins.
Atlanta calls timeout. So, Steve, a team you used to play for, the Spurs, essentially a 50-win team for the last 13 seasons, including when you played for them, but they may be nearing the end of their championship window. At least some people think that. How about you?
Well, even Tony Parker said over the summer that he didn't think the Spurs could win a championship anymore. So what a run it's been. 50-win seasons, 13 times in a row. Just incredible. They'll still be very competitive, but this is not a championship team any longer.
Here's Heinrich after the made shot from DeJuan Blair. Sweet move, and the basket by Horford.
Got a good clear look right over the top of his defender because of that height advantage.
Leonard with the ball. Still looking to get on the scoreboard. Heinrich with the steal.
You know, he got a fingertip on it, but not enough to control the pass coming in that fast.
He came away empty there, and that's a shot that should probably go down.
Heinrich against Parker. Lets it go from deep. And again, it's the Spurs from deep.
Boy, these threes are picking them apart. I mean, 4 out of the last 5 shots against them, all uncontested, and all are threes.
Yeah, the defense just looks uninterested right now. I mean, they're not making the effort to challenge these shots.
And here is Horford, following the three-pointer by Tony Parker. Smith left side. In Atlanta again with the bucket.
And I think defensively, you've got to commit a second defender because he's just destroying you right now.
Yeah, one-on-one, he's been a handful.
Now here's Parker. He's got 9. And Leonard gets it to go.
That's now 6 straight points off open threes. Get a hand up, fellas. Pay attention to the scouting report.
Well, you know how quickly things can go south when you start giving up wide open looks to this team.
1:11 left in the second quarter.
And one thing with Johnson that was different last season was that the Hawks made an effort to try to limit his minutes over the course of the year. Remember, he signed that long contract. They want to keep him healthy and fresh so that he can really fulfill the years on that contract.
Parker with the steal. He's picked up by Heinrich. Leonard dishes to Neal. Again, the Spurs good for 2. Clark, returning to Johnson for just a minute. That's not easy as a coach to leave a guy like him off the floor.
Well, a player of his caliber becomes a bit of a security blanket for a coach, but you have to balance the urgency of the present with what's best for your long-term future as a team. And certainly when you look at a guy like Joe Johnson, you want to get efficiency and balance that with the minutes played.
Too risky there on that pass.
Takes it up. A strong finish under heavy pressure all over. Johnson's got 13. And San Antonio calls the first timeout of the game.
You got to keep everybody on the same page. They need to get their heads together. That's the goal.
So for the Hawks, Marvin Williams is checked in for Smith. And it's Teague in for Kirk Heinrich. San Antonio also making some changes. Tim Duncan, he's checked in for Blair. Jefferson comes in for Leonard. And it's Ginobili in for Gary Neal. Here's Ginobili. He is tagged with the reach. That's his first foul. Here is Parker. It'll count. A miraculous buzzer beater.
Well, I love how he kept his cool there. Low stress, not a care in the world.
You're right.
Oh, man, with time running down, knowing that you need to hurry up and get that shot off, and yet he takes his time and knocks it down.
And so we conclude the first half.
What a game for Ginobili. He's got 10 points, and he's picked up 2 3-pointers to add to his totals.
Well, one thing that's great, when you're knocking down that three and you're feeling confident, you want the ball. You want to get more shots from downtown.
We'll be back momentarily.
Thanks so much for joining us on the HP Halftime Report for Martin Luther King Day. As always, the NBA putting on a special round of matinee games. Let's get to the first half. The Spurs have been rolling along. Teams on fire, torching the rims. Just take a look at that field goal percentage. Everything is going right for Tony Parker all over the court against the Hawks D. He's got 9 points, not to mention a few dimes as well. A scrappy effort by Atlanta. Physicality taking over the game. They are muscling their way around the paint. A terrific first half from Joe Johnson. And of course, Josh Smith is also making his presence felt. Some great play out of these two in today's action so far. They'll look to carry on that play into the second half. And that'll end things for us here in the studio. We'll see you next time.
History in the making, ain't you feeling it? Steve Flow, they say I'm on some show feeling.
Happy Martin Luther King Day, everyone, and welcome back as we get going again here at 2K Sports. Spurs leading by 6.
Boy, the Hawks came into the postseason last year as the 5 seed and really weren't given too much of a chance, but they turned some heads against the Magic.
On the court right now for the Spurs, McDyess and Duncan, they're inside. Parker and Manu are the backcourt, and it's Leonard in at the 3 spot. Now let's send it to Doris from the sideline.
Well, new head coach Larry Drew felt that Atlanta Hawks were too predictable on the offensive end when he took over. Oftentimes they would stand around and wait for Joe Johnson to make a play. So he implemented a motion offense to remedy this problem. Drew said, now when you talk about defending us, you are not talking about locking in on certain guys in the same spots. We won't be as predictable. Guys?
Thank you, Doris. We'll see if the Hawks can make the most of that here.
And that's a good point by Drew. I mean, you can't get complacent or predictable on offense, or you're going to get eaten alive in the NBA. The coaching's too good.
Well, back to the Hawks. They kind of backed into the postseason, losing, Steve, their last 6 regular season games.
Well, it shows sometimes that the regular season may not make any difference once the playoffs start. I think Atlanta really caught fire in that first round against Orlando, won the series, and then gave Chicago some problems, too.
Here's Ginobili after Joe Johnson scored. from deep three-point range. And again, it's San Antonio with a three.
Another three goes down, guys.
Yeah, you got to get up into them defensively. I mean, you got to put pressure on guys and make them put the ball on the floor.
Atlanta calls timeout.
You know, the Hawks did not secure home court advantage in the playoffs last season. And the few games they dropped in that chase were against the Western Conference.
And the Spurs with some changes. Blair comes in for Antonio McDyess. And it's Jefferson in for Leonard. Here's Heinrich. Here's Collins, out of bounds, and they retain possession. Here's Smith, 12 points for him. Blair on him. Here's Smith, and the Hawks getting another basket right there. Well, Clark, you brought the Hawks in the West, only 13 wins in 30 games for them against Western Conference opponents. Steve, that's going to have to improve.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to want to be a top seed in your conference, I think you have to play 500 ball at least against the other conference. And Atlanta certainly looking to make improvement this year.
And here's Heinrich. Manu Ginobili getting his three to go. Backing him down is Johnson. Clock at 6. Here's Collins. That's good, and it's Johnson with the assist. Johnson's got 3 assists in the game.
Over the past few years, we've seen Johnson's assist numbers really start to slide south. I mean, once he was up at almost 7 assists per game, and now he's down below 5 a game last year.
Shot's good by Jefferson.
Yeah, you can tell they're getting frustrated defensively out here. All these three-pointers falling.
Yeah, Steve, they're ready to throw their hands up. You can see it. The frustration is very visible. I mean, when you spread the floor and shoot the three the way they've done here in the second half, it's really hard to defend.
Nice shot by Ginobili. Clark, back to that point he made about Joe Johnson. You know, his turnovers have come down, but Steve, his assist totals have also come down.
Well, he's always been an excellent ball handler and a passer. But I think in the last couple of years, Kevin, Joe Johnson has been maybe more of an ISO player. Tends to dominate the ball a little bit, can get his shot any time, but I think at times the ball sticks in his hands a little bit too much.
Pachulia, he's checked in for Atlanta. Teague comes in for Kirk Heinrich. Daniel Green, he's checked in for San Antonio. Gary Neal comes in for Tony Parker. Smith kicks to Pachulia.
Come on, he's got to know better than to try to...
And slammed down hard. Another look on the spike.
Yes, indeed. Boy, I love that one. Not just... Then he playing dunk. That has some panache to it.
That's an energizer, guys. That is an energizer.
And that will lift the whole team up.
It's tipped. It's stolen by Green.
A miscue here, a box play there. Oh, monster throwdown. Wow. Boom.
Off to the races, just really getting up and down the floor.
Not much defense can do there, guys, but let them go.
Teague, the pass to Smith. Jefferson picks him up. Jefferson against Smith, and there's the feed to Teague. Now Pachulia, looking for his first bucket of the game.
Well, he's been scoring pretty well on just a few attempts. It might help them out if he was a bit more assertive.
Here's Neal. Backing him down is Duncan. Oh, that's blocked. Blair, another block. The Hawks trail by 15. Here's Teague. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot two.
And guys, I thought it was a breakthrough performance in last year's playoffs for Jeff Teague. I mean, the injury to Kirk Heinrich created an opportunity for him to play, and he took advantage of the minutes.
Here's what Atlanta's going with right now. Josh Powell is checked in for Horford, and Marvin Williams subbed in for Josh Smith. They get a hand on it. Now Teague. And here's the fast break. 6-second difference between shot and game clock. Blair can't hit.
It seems like he tightens up, guys, when he gets close to the rim, especially with a defender nearby.
Johnson, good. Johnson's got 4 points now in the quarter.
And I think defensively, you've got to commit a second defender because he's just destroying you right now.
Yeah, one-on-one, he's been a handful.
He has looked very comfortable from three-point land today.
Well, the bulk of his points, that's where they've come from.
Jacks up a three. Another three for Atlanta.
They come right back with the triple.
An eye for an eye. How about a 3 for a 3, Steve?
Well, with the defense recovering into the lane, you've got a wide-open shooter at the three-point line.
Well, through 3 quarters of play, down double digits at may be difficult to overcome. So as we get rolling here in the fourth, let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for the Sprite Spark Report. Doris?
Gentlemen, thank you. Daniel Green gets our spark of the game. A big reason why they're out in front is because of the second string unit that has been led by him. They haven't let up a bit and have helped them get the lead, guys.
Great, Doris. Thanks. He has been a true catalyst, Clark, off the bench.
Boy, I tell you what, I mean, he gave them something they've been lacking. I mean, it basically changed their attitude and their disposition out there. I mean, he had that kind of impact.
And that's something you don't always see, guys. I mean, a player coming in off the bench and assuming a leadership role, that was impressive.
So with Smith sitting on the bench, here's the group that Larry Drew has on the floor. They've got Heinrich. Josh Powell is out there with Marvin Williams. Then there's Pachulia. And it's Wilkins in at the two-guard spot. Whoa! Now let's take a look at it once again with our Spike Slam Cam.
Now that's a special order right there.
Not everybody can cap off a dunk like that.
Yeah, very difficult maneuver, but a tremendous one if you can pull it off.
Ginobili against Wilkins. Can't get it to go. Now Atlanta takes it the other way. And here's Heinrich. Wilkins dishes to Powell. McDyess is there. The jump hook. No, that's good. They got on this roll a while ago, and they just haven't looked bad.
3 straight buckets in the paint. They're making it look epic. He decided to hang around for a while. A little extra hang time on that dunk and made sure the photo op didn't go to waste.
I'll tell you what, that's usually a technical foul, Clark. I think he got away. With that one there.
And the Hawks will go for a different look here. Collins is checked in. Horford comes in for Josh Powell. Josh Smith, he's checked in for Marvin Williams. And it's Johnson in for Damian Wilkins.
Boy, it really had to be deflating for the Spurs after winning 61 games in the regular season to be bounced out of the playoffs by the Grizzlies in the first round. And it raised some interesting and difficult questions for them moving forward.
Johnson gets the bucket.
Well, for one, he hasn't let them down. But a few other guys need to pick up the pace if they're going to be good.
Ginobili, he's guarded by Johnson. That's good from Ginobili on the assist by Parker. Parker's got 4 assists in the game. Going back, Clark, to that first-round upset, the second time an 8th seed has ever won in a 7-game series, and the Spurs were thoroughly outplayed, Steve, by the Memphis Grizzlies. Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol. What a collection Grizzlies got by.
Yeah, that didn't feel like an 8th seed, did it? Randolph and Gasol so dominant in the front court. And then I thought Memphis's defense was really good, too. But the Spurs, as well as they played the regular season, just didn't have it in the playoffs. I think they needed an infusion of some young talent there in San Antonio.
Time call. Here, the Hawks decide to talk it over.
And the Spurs were so consistent last year against the entire league. They were 23-7 against the East, and of course did pretty well against the West too.
And the Spurs making a change here. Jefferson's checked in. A moment to check in with Doris Burke. Doris?
Guys, well, Larry Drew had some advice for his team over that last break. Turnovers are killing us, he said. We're making things way too easy on them. No more improvisation. Let's run our sets, make the right pass, and we'll get quality shots. Guys, back to you.
Now here's Parker. Beyond the arc. And again, it's the Spurs from deep. You talk about the East, you can talk about the West too, Steve. A lot of those teams probably glad they only have to face the Spurs 2 or 3 times a season if you're an Eastern Conference club.
Kevin, always a really difficult matchup for anybody are the Spurs. They're just one of the toughest teams in the league. Experienced, cohesive together, extremely well coached. They epitomize what you want to see in a championship caliber team over a long period of time. Their consistency has just been remarkable, and a lot of people share in the credit for that. Man, he's got a lot of firepower right now. What a half he's had.
Atlanta calls timeout. They're trailing by 16. 1:57 left in the fourth quarter. And making a change here, the Hawks. Pachulia's checked in. Splitter's checked in for the Spurs. .157 left to play here in the fourth. Heinrich kicks to Smith. Back to Heinrich. Over Splitter, but he stays with it. Shot clock at 6. Pachulia, good, and Heinrich gets the assist.
Points in the paint have been the main course, or main entree, if you will. They just keep pounding it inside.
Well, they're seeing no resistance defensively in the paint area, so the defense has got to be tough. Just cruising to the finish line.
Yeah, and barring something catastrophic happening, it looks like they'll go home with a nice victory here.
The dish to Johnson. Back to Heinrich. The tray. That's good, and it's Johnson with the assist. Heinrich's got 5 points now this quarter. Spurs leading by 13. Ginobili outside, launches it, and again it's the Spurs from deep.
Well, another uncontested three there. They've got to make some kind of an adjustment. I mean, they're giving up way too many open threes.
Well, the last 5 hoops, 3 have come off wide open three-pointers, Clark. So it's one thing to give up one, but you start giving three-pointers up in bunches, you're in big trouble. He's going to go to the line, but almost got that thing to drop.
Boy, I tell you what, that would have been quite a play if he got it to fall.
And I think one of the reasons the Spurs had such a great season a year ago is that Manu Ginobili was ready right out of the gates. He exploded and helped the Spurs off to that incredibly hot start.
Heinrich with it. This one for 3. That's good from Jackson on the assist by Heinrich. And Steve, Manu Ginobili stayed healthy almost all the regular season. Started to leave behind his ankle issues, which Clark had really cost him, I think, some valuable time earlier in his career.
It really did, and even after a hyperextended elbow that cost him a game in the playoffs, he was the best Spur in that first-round series against the Grizzlies. So, in all, I think a pretty healthy season for Manu.
Yeah, looks like this one's out of reach.
Yep, just a matter of the clock running out now.
And now they decide to foul intentionally.
I have no idea why he was fouling there.
And even the foul, I mean, you can't be wrapping guys up like that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. That's a meaningless play.
Looking at who's out there now for the Spurs. DeJuan Blair, he's checked in for Duncan. Green comes in for Tony Parker. And Gary Neal subbed in for Manu Ginobili. 7-second difference, shot and game clock. 13 feet out in Atlanta again with the bucket.
See the way he attacked the smaller defender there?
That's what I call know-how. He knows how to use his size.
It's Jefferson outside. Gets it to go.
That's probably going to do it. They are just putting this team away.
Steve, I thought they caught fire just at the right time, blowing this one wide open as the clock winds down.
Nice little run here, but it may be too little too late.
Yeah, I agree. Just not enough time, Steve. The clock is their enemy, not their friend.
And so it's San Antonio easily taking this one. Some days, Clark, everything goes right for a team, and they just had one of those games.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, these guys played a great all-around basketball game here.
And that about wraps it up for Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and Doris Burke. This is Kevin Harlan thanking you for watching the NBA, presented by 2K Sports. And now, Jordan presents our player of the game, Manu Ginobili.